Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrea and this is Beauty with Andy. If you've not been here before, a massive warm welcome, and if you have, welcome back to the channel. I really do appreciate your support. So today is going to be a different kind of video. I have kind of hinted at this video going up for a while now. It's all about a condition that I have, and it's called Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. So I got diagnosed when I was about 19, I think. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a story time, and it might be a bit all over the place just because I don't really have any notes, but I want to tell you a little bit about the condition first, just in case you don't know what Polycystic Ovary Syndrome is, and also to, you know, to tell you my story at the end maybe. Well, that's what we'll do. So I've already filmed some footage of how I get rid of excessive hair, because one of the problems with Polycystic Ovary Syndrome is that you do get excessive hair, so like hair here, like a little moustache and things like that. And for me personally, like, I wear makeup quite a lot and it just embellishes the hair, like you can see the hair even more. Right, so since we've been talking about Polycystic Ovary Syndrome in this video, otherwise known as PCOS, I thought I would tell you how I get rid of like the hair that grows, like it grows under my chin here, it grows like in this area here, like I get a little bit of a moustache. But you can't. When I first was diagnosed, well, not first diagnosed, but when I first started getting all this like hair under here, a few family members said you've got hair under there, and you know, it really makes you feel bad about yourself, to be honest, especially when people point it out. So probably about a year and a half ago, I saw Boots did these, and they do one called No, but that is super expensive. I think that's about £200, and these ones are £20, and they're the flawless ones, and they're just really good. So all you do is like put it like on the hair in circular movements. Sometimes if the hair's long it will nip and tug, but I thought I would show you, you know, if you've got Polycystic Ovary Syndrome, or if you've just got, you know, a few hairs and things that you want to get rid of. I know people use kind of like razors to do it, but I've never done that. So yeah, I just thought I would show you what you do. So basically it has a nozzle like that, and a little switch there, slide gold switch to turn on. So I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to zoom you in so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right, where we're starting first, probably along here. There was so much hair there. I've not done this for a long time, so it needs doing, and I thought, well, I'm going to do it anyway, so let's do it on camera as we are talking about Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. And this is quite a personal thing to me. You know, I wouldn't normally talk about something so personal, but I feel like, you know, it might help other people with the same condition to talk about how I was diagnosed. So yeah, let's just get into this clip of the video, and then we'll talk about when I was diagnosed and things like that. So yeah, can you see it there? Right, so there's long hair, so I think that's going to tug like crazy. Ow! See? That's what it does. It, like, if it's a really long hair and it gets caught in here, it tugs. But it's not to the point where it's like, oh! It's just to the point where it, you know, you don't expect it. So when it tugs it out, when it like kind of pulls it out a little bit, you're like in a little bit of pain. Is that everything from there? See, I don't have as much on this side, if any. I'm going to go over it though. I think it needs a new battery. Let me just go and change the battery. It only takes one battery. It's super easy to do as well. You just lift it off. there's the one battery, so we'll just change that. And there we go. So hopefully, and then it just slides back in. There's only one way to slide it back in as well, so yeah. So we was just getting around to this side, but it feels relatively smooth. It doesn't feel like there's too much going on there. So let's just see what we can see. No, there's definitely nothing on that side, which is a bit strange. It seems to grow more on this side. All of that's gone for the time being. So now we're just going to work on this area here. Oh, and I forgot to say, what I really like about this is when you switch it on, it's got a light. So yeah, you can basically, like when you're looking in the mirror, you can basically see where the hair growth is. Right, so there wasn't too much hair there. The main focus for me is like here and here. So like when I was a lot younger, before I even knew things like that were on the market, I used to go to the beauticians and get it all waxed, which was painful. You can see it. I mean, it goes all the way down here. It's because I've not done it for a while. But I noticed the other day when I was wearing this really thick, really thick foundation, it was clinging to the hairs on my lips. So yeah, I'm hoping that's not going to happen today when I do another video later on. So anyway, we'll do the last bit now. Yeah, there's no hair there now. Right, and if you're thinking, does it really work? Well, I can show you how much it works. So this cap here, you lift it off to clean it. This might be completely gross now, guys, so I do apologise for it. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. I think the best thing to do is probably get a tissue. It might show up better there. Right, so I've got my tissue, so let's see if it shows up. So here we go. So that's all the hair that's come out of that little thing just now. So obviously it works. I absolutely love the fact that I've got this. When this one goes on its last leg, I will certainly buy a new one. The newer ones are actually a lot nicer than this. Instead of the white and rose gold, they're just like rose gold. But I don't want to get it until this one's broken. My mum's got one of the newer ones. But yeah, I really like, well, I don't like using it. I mean, if I didn't have polycystic ovary syndrome and hers, then obviously I wouldn't have any need for using it. But because I have got polycystic ovary syndrome, then having this is kind of a lifesaver for me, because it makes me so depressed when I know that hairs are coming here. And obviously more depressed when people kind of point it out. Which, yeah, isn't the best thing for someone with polycystic ovary syndrome. So I'm going to leave, yeah, just makes you be able to see the hair even more, which is not what I want. And like family members, like I said in the clip that I've already filmed, have kind of pulled me up on it a couple of times, and it just makes me feel a little bit small, and you know, I just don't need it. So yeah, so what I've done is I've gone onto like the website and pulled up a few pictures of polycystic ovary syndrome. So let's get this one first. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So it looks like that. I don't even think you'll be able to see it. But I'll read to you what it says. So it says, a common hormonal disorder that affects ovaries in women during childbearing years. So it's very common. More than 20,000 cases per year in the UK have been known. Worldwide, I don't know, I've not looked into that. Treatments can help manage condition, but there's no known cure for it. The only treatment that I myself have had is a pill, like a contraceptive pill, but that didn't work out for me, so I haven't had any other treatments apart from surgery, which I'll go into a little bit later on. It just says often requires lab tests or imaging. I guess that's to see if you have got that condition. Can last several years or be lifelong. Now for me personally it's lifelong. It's not lasted several years, you know, so yeah. And then it says the common ages are 18 to 35. Well, as far as I know, I've still got it, and I'm 42 now. It's more common in females. Family history may increase the likelihood. As far as I'm concerned, well, as far as I know, sorry, no one in my family has got this apart from me. So no one on my mum's side has got it that she knows anyway. And we're not too sure about my dad's side, just because my dad died when I was 7 and there's no one to really ask. We're not in contact with that side of the family. It could very well be hereditary, I just don't know, so I can't give you that information. So that's that little clip that I thought I would talk about. The symptoms of polycystic ovary syndrome. So it says PCOS signs and symptoms are typically more severe in obese females. I wouldn't say I'm obese, I'm slightly overweight, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not. I have been bigger than what I am now, but I've also been slimmer, and I've still had it. So yeah, it could be a weight thing. And then it says common symptoms include amenorrhea, which is missed periods or irregular periods. I get that a lot. In fact, I don't have any periods, so you know, so that's one of it. Weight gain, yeah, I would agree with that. Like, my weight fluctuates so much. Fatigue, I always feel like I'm tired, but I always put that down to lack of sleep, the fact that I don't sleep a lot. But yeah, it could have something to do with polycystic ovary syndrome as well. Unwanted hair growth, excessive facial hair. Now that is a big one for me. I can cope with everything else that polycystic ovary syndrome comes with. I know you shouldn't have to, but I can't. But it's when I get all the hair growth on my face. Luckily, I'm pretty fair skinned. I don't have dark hair, so you can't really see it unless I let it really grow, and then you can see it, and that's when people will say, well, you've got hair, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I've just not got around to actually, you know, sorting it out yet. You don't need to point it out, I do actually know it's there. So yeah, that kind of pisses me off, if I'm being completely honest, and upsets me, but what can you do? Thinning hair on the head. Well, I have got a mountain of hair. My hair is so thick, so I don't suffer with like thinning hair, so I'm very lucky that way. Acne, very lucky that way as well. My skin is really good. I'll come close. There's no spots there at the minute. There was some spots there last week, like just under my chin here, because I was using all these lotions and potions from Poundland. I'm doing a bit of a test on them, so there was them there last week, but yeah, it seems to have cleared up now. Sleep problems. Oh yes, that is a big one for me, but I didn't actually put it together with the polycystic ovary syndrome. I just thought I had insomnia. Maybe they're related, I don't know. Infertility, well, I've not been able to conceive, so yeah, I would say that's a big one. A lot of people who've got this can conceive, like Victoria Beckham and a few other celebrities have it, and she's gone on to have like children. So yeah, don't be worried if you're just in the process of being diagnosed and thinking, oh well, I'm not going to be able to have children, because that's not the case at all. It's just one of the things that can go if you've got it really badly, like I have. I've just never been able to conceive. I'm not saying like if I didn't try the IVF, if I was with someone and we wanted to try IVF, that could potentially work, but naturally, no, it's never happened. The closest I got was couple of years ago now, I actually miscarried. So yeah, that was the closest, and I was 5 weeks pregnant at that time. I don't think it's got anything to do with polycystic ovary syndrome. It's just one of those things that happened. So I'll talk about that in another video when I'm actually ready to. It still upsets me, if I'm being completely honest, and this video was only supposed to be about the polycystic ovary syndrome, not my miscarriage. So yeah, we'll get back to this. And then depression. I do suffer with depression and anxiety, and we'll talk about that in another video as well. I didn't put it down to polycystic ovary syndrome. I don't know how that's linked. Maybe I'll do some more research on that. Then we're going into prevention. So it says polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS is what it's called for short, cannot be prevented, but early diagnosis and treatment helps prevent long-term complications such as infertility, metabolic syndrome, obesity, diabetes and heart disease. So there's some of the things that you can actually get if you're not diagnosed quick enough. Like for me personally, my diagnosis took years. There wasn't a lot at the time. At the time, nobody knew a lot about polycystic ovary syndrome. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but I just want to get these facts out of the way before I forget. If I leave it till the end of the video, I will forget. There's no doubt about it. I think there's only one more anyway to get through. So the complications of polycystic ovary syndrome are increased risk of endometrial cancer. Just remember, if you've got polycystic ovary syndrome, it doesn't mean you're going to get this. It just means there are risks, there are complications. So infertility, early treatment of polycystic ovary disease, so they're calling it a disease, not syndrome, can help prevent infertility or increase the chance of having a healthy pregnancy. Obesity related conditions such as high blood pressure, heart problems and diabetes, and possible increased risk of breast cancer. And I've got a story on breast cancer to tell you about in a later video as well, because like a few years back they actually thought I had breast cancer. So we'll talk about that in a separate video. Otherwise this video is going to be more about more about other things than it is polycystic ovary syndrome, which I don't want it to be. I think I pulled up something else. Yeah, this here. So this is of the woman. Can you see it? I'm hoping you're going to be able to see it a little bit more. No, you can't, can you? Right, let's just turn the light back on. Right, so I'll just tell you then. So we've got the woman in the middle there, and then it's all the polycystic ovary syndrome symptoms. So a big one is trouble conceiving or infertility. Then it goes on to tell you about the mood changes that you might have. Then it goes on to tell you about acne that you might have as well, fatigue, lack of sleep and that kind of thing, insulin resistance. And then it goes on to tell you about high testosterone levels, male pattern baldness, thinning hair, irregular or missed periods, low sex drive, ovarian cysts, weight changes and trouble losing weight, and then excessive body hair growth. And to be honest, right, let's talk about this now. To be honest, I'm very lucky that I only get hair growth on my face here. I've seen pictures on the internet of a girl who literally had it all over her body, which I just thought, what a shame for that poor girl. Yeah, she literally had it everywhere, and some people get it on the neck and all down the back. I have never had anything like that. It took me a long time to even get hair growth on my face. So like I said, I was diagnosed when I was 19, but the problem started occurring just probably about a year or two after I started my periods. So probably around 15. I remember starting my periods around 13, and things were okay for a short time. And then when I was around 15, I noticed that they were really irregular, like practically non-existent. So like I'd have a period every 4 or 5 months. So then I started going to the doctors, and I just said, look, you know, I'm not having periods. You know, that they are really irregular. And he said, well, how irregular are they? And I said, about 5 months apart, and sometimes it'd be even longer than that. And so then you know, he sent me tests for, he thought it was endometriosis, which is another condition which I'm not going to go into because I don't really know too much about that. Because I was in pain as well, I was like in really bad pain with my stomach. He just put that down to being, you know, endometriosis. He didn't even send me for tests for Polycystic Ovary syndrome. That didn't enter into his head until much later. So I'd been going back and forth to the doctors for 4 years. Well, I'd say 3 years, and then we started getting somewhere when I was 18. So he sent me to a gynecologist, who basically then said, you know, she ran all the tests and she did scans and things, and she said, you've got Polycystic Ovary syndrome. And I said, well, what's that then? And she said, well, it's cysts on your ovaries, and you've got quite a large amount of cysts. And I'm like, right, so what can we do about that? And she said, well, we've run the scans. The next thing for us to do is try and give you some medication. If that doesn't work, then you'll need to come in for surgery, which I was really panicking about because I hate hospitals. And like prior to that, I'd never even had any surgery at all. I'm very rarely ill, and I'm very rarely in hospital. So she gave me that contraceptive pill I told you about earlier. It just didn't work. You know, I was still having the missed periods. When obviously the contraceptive pill, if you take it correctly, is meant to regulate your periods, but it wasn't doing for me. And I also had all those cysts all over my ovaries. So I went back to see her, and she said no. She said it's not worked. She said you'll have to come in for surgery. So when I say surgery, basically all it was is me going into hospital for the day, and what they did is they lasered the cysts off, and that worked. And you know, I was alright for a good couple of years. So yeah, that did that. I mean, my periods still weren't regular, and you know, things like that, and I was still getting the really bad stomach aches. So it was like I was having a period with the really bad stomach ache you get, but I just wasn't. So I'd have to take things like Feminax, which is a really good tablet if you have really bad period pain. So I took Feminax, I took paracetamol, ibuprofen, all that, you know, all those painkillers rather, that really help when you're having period pain. And I just, you know, kept going back and forth to the doctors, and I just said, look, you know, I'm in a real lot of pain. They said that they got rid of the cysts. So this was a few years later. So I went back into the hospital, had more scans, there was more cysts there. So back again into the hospital. This time there was more complications, unfortunately. So I went to the hospital. I've only ever been twice where they've had to laser off the cysts, because they said they wouldn't do it again, purely because the last time I went in, I thought it was just going to be like it was the first time, which was simple. It was a simple procedure. I just went in, they put me under anaesthetic, lasered the cysts off. A few hours later I was allowed to go home, and I thought that was going to be the case this time around. Oh no, it wasn't. So I went into the hospital, and they did the anaesthetic again. They managed to laser the cysts off, that was fine. So they did laser the cysts, so they were all gone, but they couldn't wake me up. You know, they really struggled to wake me up, and the doctor came round when I was awake on the ward, and said, we're not going to be doing that again, it's too dangerous. We really struggled to wake you up. It was touch and go for a while there, and I was like, but I only came in to get my cyst lasered off. What happened? And they said, we don't know, we just really struggled to wake you up, so we're never ever gonna do that procedure again. And I'm like, right, but what if I get more cysts? And they said, well, we still wouldn't do it, you know, we'd have to find another way of getting rid of them, which to my knowledge I don't think there is another way. Like I said earlier, the treatment that I've been told about is like going onto the contraceptive pill. That does help. It's supposed to help with stomach pains. It can't help with getting rid of the cysts if there's cysts on your ovaries, because obviously, you know, it's just a pill. It's not a magic pill or anything like that. But yeah, they said, you know, we could put you on that again. At the moment I'm on an implant. It's just here in my arm, and I got that last year. Not had periods with that either. So when this comes out, I've got another 2 years of it, but when it comes out, I'm not having that put back in. I'm getting older now, so you know, I'll be waiting for that time to come when I go through the change and whatnot. So I'll probably just go back onto the contraceptive pill for a while and then see what happens. As far as like infertility, yeah, I would say definitely I'm infertile. I've had in my life probably two, well, there's no probably about it, I've had 2 relationships, 2 long ones, one for 7 years and one for just over 10 years. So if you rack them up together, that's a 17-year relationship. And I didn't get pregnant with either of those 2 partners. It could be the fact that I was carrying excessive weight, like polycystic ovary syndrome does say that. If you're, you know, carrying excessive weight, you might not be able to conceive, so they tell you to actually lose weight. So that could be a case, but yeah, basically he's pretty much left me infertile, and I believe one of the reasons why he's done that is because I wasn't diagnosed quickly enough. I mean, it took them 5 years. 5 years to diagnose me is just too long, but in this day and age, diagnoses for this condition get diagnosed a lot quicker than mine did. So if you feel like I said, some of these symptoms to you and you feel like that's you, go to your GP. So we started off with infertility or having trouble conceiving. So for me personally, yeah, I would say so. Mood changes for me. I mean, everyone gets bad-tempered, so you know, everyone gets mood swings at some point or other. A lot of people do get them when they're on the period anyway. Like they have highs and lows. I wouldn't say that I have any mood swings more than another person, you know. I mean, I have times when I do have mood swings and times when I don't, just like anyone else would. So no, I wouldn't say I'm affected by that. Acne, no, I'm definitely not affected by acne, which I feel extremely blessed. Never really had trouble with spots growing up. Like I said to you just before, I get the odd few here, and like sometimes I'll get them when I'm stressed. But I don't put that down to polycystic ovary syndrome. Fatigue, yeah, that's a definite one for me. Like I said to you earlier, I always put that down to me having sleep problems like insomnia, and the doctors actually think I've got sleep apnea as well now, so I always put it down to that. I never put it down to polycystic ovary syndrome. I didn't think that was part of it, but maybe it is, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I have it. So next up is irregular or missed periods, which we've just spoke about. I can't remember my last period, guys, it's that long. So yeah, all throughout like me being like 15 onwards, and now like I said I'm 42, they've just been so irregular. So yeah, there is that. Ovarian cysts, yeah, I've had a lot of ovarian cysts, like I said on like previously I've had to go into hospital and they've had to be lasered off. So they've had to be lasered off. It's not painful or anything like that. So if they do say to you, if you have got polycystic ovary syndrome, you'll have to come into hospital and we'll laser the cysts off, don't worry about it, because it's not painful at all. So yeah. Weight changes and trouble losing weight, I would say that's a definite for me. Before all the lockdown and things, I did go to the gym quite regular, and I was losing weight, but my weight fluctuates so much. One minute it's up here, the next it's down here, so that is a big one for me, as well as the excessive facial hair, and then excessive body hair growth, which is what we spoke about, which is the main thing that really gets to me. I know it's not a big deal to most people, and a lot of people wouldn't even recognise that I have it unless you're up close here. Unless you're in someone's face, you just wouldn't know, unless they've got really dark hair and you can see it here, like really dark, which you can't with me. I don't even really get that much hair here. It's just underneath my chin here that it's the most, but I do get some here where my hairline is, and that has to go, and I'll show you how I do that. I'm not sure whether I'm going to put the clip at the end of this video or in the middle somewhere, but yeah, you should see it, especially if you've got polycystic ovary syndrome or you've got any kind of excessive hair on your face. It's really interesting, and it really does work. So I'll show you actually what I use. So it's so tiny. So this is what I use. It's by a company called JML. I think it's called Flawless. Yeah, it's called Flawless. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I have done a little clip video with how I get rid of like the excessive hair and things like that. So I don't want to talk too much about that. But yeah, you should watch it, and especially at the end, where I go on to say, you know, if you're thinking that it hasn't worked, you know, you need to see what comes out of it. It is a bit gross, but at least then you know it works. But again, I'm not just talking about this for polycystic ovary syndrome. I'm talking about if you get excessive hair. My sister actually has one of them, and she doesn't have polycystic ovary syndrome. My mum's got one. She doesn't have polycystic ovary syndrome. Like my mum gets a few hairs here. She's never had polycystic ovary syndrome, but she just uses that to do that. And I think my sister like does in between her eyebrows and things like that with it. So yeah, they're really good to have. They're only £20 to buy, so I would really recommend that. I don't know what else to say about polycystic ovary syndrome. It is a very personal story to me, and I debated so much whether to even put this video up, but I feel like putting it up could help a few people who have polycystic ovary syndrome. Like it says here, there are, was it 20,000? Yeah, there are 20,000 cases in the UK each year. So that's just 1 year. So, you know, if I can help someone that thinks that they've got this disease or disorder, whatever they want to call it, of course I'm going to do that. But yeah, I really do feel uncomfortable talking about it, just because it's like a personal story of mine. Which there are other personal stories that kind of like integrate into this polycystic ovary syndrome one, like I said earlier about the miscarriage, and also I do have a breast cancer story as well, which we will go into future videos, just when I feel a bit more comfortable about talking about it. I don't really do story time videos. I just feel quite uncomfortable. I am more of a person that does videos on makeup and skincare and other things like that, like hauls and things like that. Things that I don't have to think too much about, you know, saying, and I wouldn't want to offend anyone either. So, you know, I tend to stay away from the whole story time videos. But I hope this helps you if you do think you've got polycystic ovary syndrome, or even if you have got polycystic ovary syndrome. That's my only intention, is to put some facts out there and also to tell you my story and how I got it, and you know, how I deal with it. The only way I deal with it really is to take, if I'm in serious pain, to take painkillers, and also to use this. At the moment, the only thing that's bothering me is the facial hair. I've not had any pain like in my stomach, which is really, really good, which probably means there isn't a lot of cysts there. Last time I went for a scan was only about a year and a half ago. Went for the scan, and the nurse said, "You've got polycystic ovary syndrome." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can you see the cysts?" And she went, "There's none there." Yeah, so she said, "There's none there." And I said, "There isn't." And she went, "No, look at the monitor." And the monitor, all it showed was my ovaries. There was no cysts there or anything. So that's really, really good news. And they reckon it was down to probably the fact that I had lost weight, but my periods hadn't come back. So I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to film this video. I'd been going on about filming it since Christmas, well, since November, December time, and I hadn't like built up the courage to actually get it filmed. So I thought I would do it today. I'm going to put it up relatively soon. I'm not just going to leave it in my videos to go up when all the other videos have gone up, because I have got a backlog of videos, and if I leave it I'll probably just end up deleting it. So I might try and get it up for tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like I said, you know, polycystic ovary syndrome is a recognised disorder, whichever you want to call it. And if you have it, you know, like for me personally, for so long I felt so bad about myself for having it, like getting all the hairs on the face and whatnot. You shouldn't feel bad about it. It's not anyone's fault. It's just a condition that's happened. So yeah, just know that you're not alone. Obviously I'm here saying I've got it as well. So if you ever want to reach out to anyone, if you do feel like pretty bad about yourself, just leave me a comment down below, contact me that way, or you can go over to my Instagram and DM me there. It's Beauty with Andrea 1_. So yeah, you can contact me there, and I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. Sorry if this video has been all over the place, but yeah, I didn't have any notes really, only the notes about the facts of the condition. So thank you so much for watching. If you've not already subscribed, please click that subscribe button down below, and click the notifications bell, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.